Of course. You just had to touch it.
Everyone in the service industry has a story, crazy customers, wild orders, and WTF moments. Do you want to start a tab? The podcast here to bring you those tales from behind the bar. My name is Carl. I've been in the service industry now for probably over 13 years, and I enjoy 90% of the world, hospitality world.
Oh, okay. My name is Riley, and I have done approximately 2 years in the service industry. And I could not give a total of how much I like and don't like because I haven't done much of it.
So here on this lovely little podcast, we read stories off the internet about the hospitality industry. Sometimes we have a guest, sometimes we don't, and we still don't have a guest because I am slacking on the what's the
networking?
The networking and the motivation just to find it. It's so I apologize for that. So you just have to hear us read stories off the internet about the hospitality industry. Then we rate that story 1 through 5. We talk about the story. Was it handled correctly? Could it have been handled differently? And we give some life experiences that kind of relate to that story because as much as we've been in the service industry, we have seen almost all shapes and sizes of stories.
Yeah, pretty much.
Would you like to go first or would you like me to go first? Oh, first of all, let's backpedal a little bit.
Yep.
Beep, 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 beep. All right, so we also like to drink on this podcast. And today, I'm having my first real martini.
Define real martini.
None of that chocolate bullshit.
Well, yeah, that's a given. But like,
oh, okay.
Are you talking about traditional specs or are you talking about like what?
I would say traditional classical specs of 2 ounces of gin, 1 ounce of dry vermouth, and 1 dash of Regan's bitters and 1 dash of Fee Brothers Orange bitters.
And I think it's important to note that the gin that we are using is a citrus gin.
So yes, this specific gin has a big grapefruit note to it, which I kind of like, and the lemon kind of just makes it a little more.
Yeah, it's very citrusy, and it's not as potent as I expected it to be.
Yeah, it's a lot smoother than I thought it was going to be. Just another cocktail in our arsenal that I'm going to probably drink way too much of at some point.
Yep.
All right. Would you like to go first?
You can go ahead.
Okay. So this subreddit is in the Bartender subreddit, or this is the subreddit Bartenders. And sometimes what they'll do is someone will make a general
question post
to say, tell us your stories that involve this. And then, so the stories aren't usually as long, but they're still fun and curious. So this is the horror stories. Looking for the best bartender horror stories. Terrible customers, clogged toilets, barf, whatever you got. I'll give you one of my, not 100% my story, but I was there, so it counts. And so we'll read it. Again, a lot of these aren't going to have titles, so... I have a fellow bartender friend that works at a high-end cocktail bar. He had a customer come in and have about a half a dozen strong whiskey drinks. The customer began to show signs of heavy intoxication. Service was stopped, gave the guy a water, called him a cab, and that was that. My friend gets off and comes to my bar to have a couple of drinks, stays for an hour, and calls an Uber. The Uber comes, and the driver is the fucking guy he cut off 90 minutes ago. He said the car reeked of alcohol. He recognizes my friend and speeds off. He's left absolutely speechless that this guy thought he could safely drive people around. We email Uber the story and the info that was left on his app. No response. Cops take info, but we never hear anything about it. Scary stuff. That's my story. Stay safe out there, my friends. Man, the audacity of some people.
I am.
Are you okay?
I'm broken. Like
you're broken.
The logic does not compute so hard that I am encountering processing errors.
Man,
like I just oof. You get kicked out of a bar, or you get cut off.
You get cut off, right? And it seems like he handled the situation fine.
Right. They called him an Uber, so he was too drunk to get his own ride.
Mm-hmm.
And then he proceeds to be other people's rides.
90 minutes later. Like, I wonder how long did he go home? Did he get right back in his car, start Ubering, or did he maybe wait an hour or so? You know, we don't know. That's
Well, the asshole's a heavily intoxicated customer
right.
/ Uber driver.
Right. And the heroes are the two bartenders,
Yeah.
They cut off the guy when they should have.
Right.
Got him home safely, got him an Uber.
Right.
And then wow, I would be like, am I sleeping? Like I'd be like, am I dreaming right now?
Is this the Twilight Zone?
Right. That's crazy.
Maybe it wasn't actually him. Maybe it was his twin brother.
Yeah, but the guy drove off. That would have been hilarious too. You're trying to defend the guy.
No, I'm just. Oh, that's a rough one.
Mm-hmm. That's crazy.
I mean. Oh, I don't have an. I'm speechless.
I wonder how many people got into that car, like prior to this. Like if this wasn't his first pickup for the night, if this is like his fourth. Did anyone else sense, like, oh, it smells like fucking Jack Daniels in here?
Right. And also, they said 6 whiskey drinks.
Uh-huh.
How is he awake?
I don't know.
I mean, I guess I've had 6 whiskey drinks and still been fine, but well, not fine, but upright.
Yeah. I don't know. It's interesting for sure because it's just a weird dynamic because I mean, obviously Uber's changed a lot of things, and maybe he's just so drunk he thought he was good to go. Or maybe he racked up such a huge bill day drinking he needed to pay that fucking bill off. Man.
I don't know.
Okay, so on a rating scale, 1 through 5. So again, just one of your first times listening to us, we try to rate this as if the story is how unusual is this story? Have we heard anything like this before? And to like kind of put it in that perspective.
Yeah.
So honestly, this has got to be like a 4-4.
Yeah, because you have the audacity that gets you that gets you a higher rating, but then you also get the coincidence factor, where unless this is a really small town with like 2 bars total,
right? But they have Uber, which means you have to be in a pretty
right.
decent
They have
size
to be
town.
a decent size. So
I mean, we're in a town of 60,000. We barely have Uber.
Right, but I think the pandemic helped a lot of that.
That's true. This is 4 years ago, so when Uber's still.
Ubers were big here before.
I mean, they're still big, but yeah, just around here. But anyways, yes. Sorry.
You're gonna say 4.4?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say 4.4 as well because it's the coincidence for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's crazy. Like, what are the odds? What are the odds that anything like that happen? Like, think about Uber. Man, if we worked for Uber, think about the stories that we would read through emails about like drivers and situations and this or that,
Yeah, you don't want to work legal for Uber either.
Yeah. Oof.
The number of women that get kidnapped.
That's true.
The Lyft and Uber both had several lawsuits because of stuff like that. That's why you can send your location through the Uber app to friends now.
Right.
Anyway.
All right. Well, so yeah, if you have a story similar to that where it's just this weird coincidence that happened at one, something happened and then later that day a coincidence happened like this. I don't really know what I'm trying to say, but if you have a story interesting like this, or maybe not as interesting, we'd love to hear. We love to hear stories that are one because those are usually like the funny ones because it happens all the time. We're like, that's nothing.
Right.
Or if you're curious what we would rate your story, let us know. We do have a subreddit is in the link of the description of any podcast player that you're listening to. And then we also have a voicemail, which we're still waiting for. We've had one voicemail. I'm still waiting. Not just me. We both are. Just get drunk one night with some friends and call us. Just leave us some
Tell
dumb
us your stories.
It's just random. We could then be nothing. Just ramble for 3 minutes. Who gives a fuck?
Right.
At this point.
Make it fun for us.
Yeah, make it fun. Tell us who your favorite host is, and tell us why it's Riley, please. So the phone number is 563-277-0072. Again, 563-277-0072. And on a little other side note, I am working on a better website for us and to where you can start going to the website, leaving comments on the stories, and then also like what we rate them, you'll be able to filter out what stories are what and see what our highest and lowest rated stories are.
Okay. Interesting. So I really do need to start working on that spreadsheet, don't I?
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you very much. I don't ask a lot of you. I ask a shit ton of you.
Yes.
All right. You got a story for us, babe?
I do. And since the police were involved in the first one, I think I'm going to continue on a similar vein.
What's that song? That's the sound of the police.
I don't know. I know what song you're talking about, but I'm not going to try to sing it.
Yeah, that's all I'm going to sing. All right, go ahead.
All right. This is from the Bartenders subreddit, and it was posted 3 months ago by Buffy Scrims.
Ooh.
It's called Ex-Sheriff Came Behind My Bar to Fight Me Last Night.
Ooh, God, just give me one shot. Give me one shot.
I work at a hotel bar. We have a rule that people can't bring in outside food and drinks. Pretty common sense stuff. You can't have hotel guests just plopping down in front of the TVs with their own 30 packs. Trust me, they try. Last night, this group of 3 people sit at the bar for Monday Night Football. I keep trying to get food and drink orders from them. They all say they are okay. I think maybe they are waiting for someone and they'll all order later. After about an hour, a 4th guy comes down with 3 cans of soda and a huge plate of outside food. As nicely as possible, I tell the group we don't allow outside food. We have to keep this area open for bar guests. There's an area in the hotel lobby with TVs where you can watch the game and bring whatever you want. They don't respond to me and just continue sitting. I tell the manager what's going on. He's annoyed, but because we're part of a hotel, we are ordered to try as hard as possible not to escalate any situation so we don't piss off the guests. So I decide, whatever, I'm just going to ignore them. Until 1 hour later, when the same guy comes back with even more outside food. I kindly say, I told you we don't allow outside food. He gives a shit-eating grin and says, sorry, and keeps eating. At this point, I'm over it. I turn out the TV off so they can't watch the game anymore and go get a manager. When I come back, this man is behind the bar turning the TVs back on. He gets in my face and starts screaming at me because I'm an asshole for how I treat customers. I explained to him that since he didn't buy anything, he's not a customer. He then gets in my face, says, what are you going to do about it? He calls me a fucking pussy and shoves me. This is a stone cold sober 60-plus-year-old man. I somehow bring myself to just leave the scene. I meet with the security manager in the lobby and tell them what happened. Security confronts the guy. He lies and, of course, says, I never touched him. He then starts going on about how he's an ex-sheriff and deserves respect. Security escorts him out. They pull the security tapes and see him confront me behind the bar and blatantly shove me clear as day. This incident combined the 2 things I absolutely hate the most about bartending. 1, non-customers taking up chairs. Your purse does not get a chair. Your suitcase does not get a chair. You do not get a chair unless you are ordering something. How do people not understand this? These people took up a quarter of my bar for 4 hours last night and spent $0. They probably cost me at least $50 to $100. 2, the way people feel empowered to say and do anything to you because they know you aren't in a position to retaliate. This was a morbidly obese 60-plus-year-old man. I am a grown-up. My fighting days are well behind me, but I'm half this guy's age and in way better shape. If I really wanted to, I could have destroyed him, and he knows that. He would have never challenged me to a fight on the street in a million years, but because he knows I'll lose my job if I retaliate, he feels totally comfortable shoving me and threatening me with physical violence. As a side note, this is the 2nd time I've been threatened with physical violence at this job, and both times came at the hands of people involved with law enforcement. Telling cops no to anything is an absolute nightmare. They have total meltdowns. It's not the end of the world. Most nights are good. This one just happened to be soul-crushingly bad. I just feel like I needed to vent.
Wow.
Whew.
So this reminds me of some video that I saw on Instagram Reels. I don't know if you shared it to me or shared it to you, where it looked like it was like just not a dive bar, but just a casual like kind of bar. And someone came back behind the bar and was yelling at the bartender, and the bartender laid his ass out.
Right.
Obviously, there's more to that story that we are not aware of. There has been escalations, but yeah, that is the part that I can relate to, when customers can try to talk to you because they don't think you're going to talk back to them. They're just going to just
because you can't retaliate, or they think
retaliate.
you can't.
Right. And I don't take that shit. I will give you a piece of my mind, and especially if you went to the management and they didn't do anything,
right?
Then it's like it's time to take this in my own fucking hands. At that point,
yes.
Especially the second time. The first time, like, ugh, you know. But it's curious though because he said he lost almost $50 to $100 because they took it 4 hours. So that means his bar must be pretty fucking busy, you know, to lose $100 worth of tips in 4 hours. That's
I mean, it's a hotel bar, so
Right.
you know their drinks are probably $20 a piece.
yeah. But still, I guess but it's also like what a bunch of dicks.
But it was Monday Night Football.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm
I
just
don't know. But it just
regardless.
But there's TVs out in the lobby. Why? Like what goes through people's minds? They're like, you know what? Why would you want to sit at the bar? I don't know.
I mean, I understand that there's like this, like sitting at the bar and watching a football game is actually really fun, and I get that. However, you have to be respectful of the establishment.
Mm-hmm.
Like if they say no outside food, then order food from them.
Mm-hmm. Or go to the lobby, eat your fucking pizza.
Right. And it's the part that did it for me, the part that had my blood boiling for this person was I kindly say, I told you weren't allowed we don't allow outside food. He gives a shit-eating grin and says sorry and keeps eating.
Mm-hmm.
What the? Oh, I'd have laid him out.
Yeah. I would have just took the plate of food away from him and thrown it away.
Good call.
Like, oh, sorry.
We don't allow outside food. Chuck into the trash can.
Or pour like a draft beer and accidentally
Spill it
over.
all over his
all
food.
over his food.
Oops.
Oopsie. I'm sorry. I'm all thumbs
Gotta
today.
make sure today. Gotta make sure it gets on his pants too, though. Just spill a whole 16-ounce beer. God, my blood was boiling reading this.
Man, that person. So they're my age, you know, your age, more, 30 something years old, and
Yeah.
come back behind the bar, dude. No.
I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're a bartender. If you don't work at that bar and if you are not currently on shift and the bartender did not specifically ask you to do something, you do not. You do not go behind the bar.
There was one time I didn't care, but John from Brady's, I was just getting smashed, and he could just see the dishes piling up, and he knew I was in, and I remember I saw him take his jacket off, laid it on the end of the bar, and just came back and doing dishes. But
but again, like you know him.
Right. Yes.
You guys have a rapport within the industry and with each other.
Right.
That is different.
Right. No. Any random person that I don't know.
Even if you do know the person, but like.
Well, those people I know will know not to come behind the bar.
Right. Right. But like, yeah, I mean, your best friend can be the bartender and you can see things, but like if you don't know precisely what you're doing back there, don't go.
Don't go. Yeah.
And especially if you don't know that bartender. Especially, oh God, I'm so mad.
Yeah, there's so many levels of incorrect guest. And it's so funny too. It's like, why is the guest lying? Because there's security tapes. The bartender has nothing to lose. Because if he does say he pushed me, he doesn't, then he's probably gonna get reprimanded anyway. So the bartender's not going to lie about getting pushed or shoved.
Unless he wasn't aware that there were cameras. But I mean, this was 3 months ago. You have to assume that there are cameras.
There's cameras everywhere. I don't give a fuck.
But
when people get mad about people filming out in public, you're getting filmed in a million other places right now.
Also, and then let's just add to it. I'm an ex-sheriff and I deserve respect.
You automatically don't get respect. You earn your respect, and you lost it when you kept eating the first time your food.
Right. Like I think everybody walks in the door with a base level of respect.
Right.
Like a base level of humanhood.
Yeah.
And you can maintain it, you can exceed it, or you can lose it. The second time that he walked in with food, he lost it.
He lost it the first time. They told him he can't do it.
But it sounded like he left and then left with the food and then came back because he came back again with more food. I don't really it wasn't really clear in the story.
How I perceived this is they sat there for 4 hours, so they ate They ate dinner number 1,
and then they
came back for second dinner. That's I mean, I don't like apps or something like that. Like that's how Because he sits there for 4 hours, so it seems like, you know.
Yeah, but it's like, no, an hour later, a fourth guy comes down. So, like, the three guys were there for a while. Then the guy comes in.
Who wants to sit at a bar for an hour just sitting there, not ordering drinks and not.
You can find more comfortable chairs.
Yeah. Absolutely. Huh. I don't know.
I don't know. I'm just boiling.
And see, goes to, there's so many layers on the story that kind of makes it more complex. My story was very simple,
Right.
but it was like one big factor.
Right.
This is just a little bit,
minutia.
a little bit more,
This-
a little bit more.
This for the bartender, this was death of 1,000 cuts. It
Yeah.
was itty bitty little things that escalated into one. It like that. That was just the put you over the top.
Right.
It was like slowly, like every 10 seconds, shaking a can of pop and having it explode.
Yep. I'm going to give this a 4.4 again.
Wow, that's 3 stories in a row that you've given a 4.4. In case you were wondering.
Because I don't like 4.5 is, I guess I don't know why I'm not giving it like a 4.5, 4.6, or 4.2. I just feel like that's the number to give.
I'm gonna go lower.
Okay.
So for 2 reasons. One, as a side note, this is the second time I've been threatened with physical violence at this job, and both times it came at the hands of people involved with law enforcement.
That's pretty fucked up.
Yep. But it's not uncommon. And I know that. I've experienced it. Not physical violence, but just general douchebaggery.
Mm-hmm.
And because it is death of 1,000 cuts, like I had a day today that was death of 1,000 cuts. And it seems so much crazier and more wild than it is. But you've had people come behind your bar and try to fight you. You've had people try to flaunt hotel rules when you worked, or bar rules when you worked at the hotel.
That's true.
So I'm going to say 3.1. No, you know what? I'm going to give it a solid 3. It's in the middle of the road.
All right. That's a good point. That last point. Yeah. It's just been forever since I worked at a hotel. Like, you just forget like everyday shit. But yeah, people try to flange out, you know, like, oh, we're staying at the hotel. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, because especially in hotel bars, people think that, oh, because I'm a guest at the hotel, I am entitled to the amenities, as it were, even when the amenities aren't included in your room charge.
All right, I'm gonna go 3.5. Because the stories also that Carrie, Brett, Nick have told me, you know, people come in without shoes on.
Right, thinking that they can wear robes.
Mm-hmm. Without fucking clothes underneath of them.
Right.
Man, there was one time we got told, I think, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure we were told that we had to let them in even if they weren't wearing shoes.
Well, that's not.
No,
That's a health code violation.
No, it was the robe thing. They had to wear shoes, but they could wear their robes.
Yeah, you can wear your robe as long as you're not like.
But who the
flashing
fuck
people.
wants to wear their robes to a fucking public bar, man? Like, that's fucking weird.
We definitely did wear robes to a concert.
We wore
Clothes underneath them,
full clothes underneath of it. We weren't like in a bathing suit and went to.
And it was Halloween.
It just frustrates me. And all I got to say is, don't be a dick. Tip your bartenders and drink responsibly.
Yep.